Hello lovelies. So I have an art journal video in my new favourite art journal that I've been working on. This is my altered 12x12 book that I found at an op shop that I'm in love with. And I'm starting with one of the new Scrap FX collage papers. Now I loved this and I almost contemplated putting it in a smaller journal so it would fit the entire page. And I thought, no, you know what? I'm gonna try and be, clever and blend this into my page. So I'm putting down some gel medium just to stick this down. Now obviously the page is 12 by 12, well, at least I think it is, that's what I'm assuming. It's a square and this is a lot smaller, so as you can see I've got a bit off to the side here that it doesn't cover my page. So I'm just going to try and I'm just going to bring in some gesso just to sort of cover up a bit of what's in my background and just try and blend this collage piece into the rest of my page. And then I'm going to get some paints in some similar colors to what's already down, and I'm going to try and extend the paper, I guess you could say. I'm going to try and extend this pattern. So I'm going to try and merge the collage paper with some of my own paint blobs and try and make it one cohesive piece. Now I do have to say that this didn't turn out as I'd planned. I have a bit of a whoopsie moment where it all goes off script, but I persevere and I end up with a page that I really quite like. So I have two Dina Wakley colours. I can't remember what the blue is. I think, no. I've got a blue and a lime, basically. I'm sorry, I'm nowhere near my desk and I can't remember them. And I'm just using my fingers to just, smush them around, make some circles. And then I've added some water, but it became a bit too, I was hoping to get some drips happening, but it was just a bit too watery. I don't really do that much after this. I dried off my heat gun and then I'm just going in with some more paint and just making some finger blobs. What I'm trying to do is I'm drawing inspiration from the collage paper that I've put down, and I'm trying to mimic it and sort of extend it. So I'm trying to make it look like my paint blobs and the collage paper paint blobs go together so that everything sort of matches. Now I'm coming in with a Feud Bore pen because you're not supposed to be able to kill these when you put them over wet paint, because I'm so impatient. Paint pens and I love my paint pens, but I'm too impatient to wait for paint to dry properly before I use them, so this pen's great for that. And I'm just trying to mimic some of those mark making techniques that were on the collage paper and just to sort of blend it in together. Same with one of the new mark making stamps from this month's release. I'm just plonking it in my paint and then I'm trying to just blend the two together and just extend my patterns. This is where we go off script. So I had planned to put some black paint. Like, what are you doing? You're covering all that pretty. I had planned to put some black paint down and then wipe it off with a stencil so that all I'd be left with in the black would be the outline of these cool leaves. And then all that pretty pattern would still be through. It was supposed to be very thin, but it didn't work as well as it should have. What I should have done is I should have put some clear gesso down. This is like a reverse stenciling or a ghosting technique, and it works beautifully when you have your page prepped right. So because this is on top of the collage paper that's made from a rice paper, it just absorbed that paint. So yeah, it wasn't going to come off the way I had hoped. As you can see to the side here where I'm wiping it off with the wet one, that has white gesso on it. So it's coming off beautifully on the white gesso, which is what it's supposed to do. But I didn't want to put white gesso over my page, obviously, because it would have covered everything up even more. But yeah, it didn't do what I wanted. See how it's just wiping away beautifully in some areas? That's the gessoed part. So if I had to put clear gesso down, this technique would have worked the way I had hoped. But I almost gave up on it, but I thought, no, we're going to go with it. I can still see a bit of that pattern behind. You know what? I'm going to have to get another piece of this collage paper because I really liked it and I loved the plan I had in my head. But anyway, so I'm adding some more paint. I'm bringing in some more of those colors again to brighten it up because now I've got a lot of black on my page. And so I'm just bringing in some of those colors just to try and bring that collage paper back to the front of it. It's covered in black. You can see a little bit of the patterns behind it, but yeah. So now instead of having a little bit of black pops in a pattern, I've got a big black blob behind me. So I'm going to just You'll see in a minute. I bring the leaves back with some white space this time. I use some gesso, but so I'm just using my paints just to add some more pattern and definition on top of that big black blob that I have. I'll say that 3 times really fast. So it ends up working really well. It does come back together. Like I almost considered stopping and just starting something new, but I thought, no, we can make this work. I have always said art journal pages go through a hot mess stage. This is my hot mess stage. My year 11 art teacher said there's no rules in art and there's no wrong. There's no wrong in art. So even though I had a big whoopsie and it didn't turn out the way I'd hoped, I still managed to come out with something I don't mind. I really like it, actually. So I'm coming in. This is that stencil again. So now, because I've got all this black, I'm going to bring in some white gesso and bring some more white space to it. And this really helps lift the page and just blend it all together a bit better. And it just really helps bring the page together. So I'm just going over this. This is one of the new, I can't remember, floating leaves stencil, falling leaves stencil, I think it is. And it gives you a really nice fine leaf outline, which is beautiful. And I'm matching it up so I've got this cascade of leaves falling from the top of my page in white gesso. And as you can see, it really lifts the page. It's really helping lift that big black blob in the background. But you can still see some of my colours. So this page really comes together quite well. But what really ties it together is this part here. So I'm coming back with my black pen. And I come back in with my paint pens and just doing some of that mark making that you can see in the background from the collage paper, like I did before, but this time I'm doing it all over. Just some simple mark making, some doodled circles, some spots. It really helps tie all these bits together. And how many times can I say that in a video? But it really does. A little bit of mark making can go a real long way in a video. Oh, sorry, not in a video, in a page. Putting together an art journal page, a bit of mark making really does make a difference. And I love mark making. I love playing with lines and spots and paint pens. And having the inspiration of the collage paper behind already there. As you can see here, this lined little shape that I'm doing, I'm actually mimicking a pattern that was already on the collage paper, and I'm just extending it to other areas of the page. And having that collage paper to draw that inspiration from really helps. And the fact that it's in 3 different areas really helps pull this whole page together. Also, adding a pop of white, because I have a dark page, adding a pop of white. If you have a light page, adding a pop of black can really help. I don't know what it does, it just really picks up a page. So as you can see, just by adding a bit of mark making, a bit of doodling, this page is really coming together into a page that I really quite like. So I can't help but add splatters because I love splatters. But yeah, it really is tying this whole page together. So for my focal point, I have decided to use this image from one of the new collage papers from this month's release as well, from Scrap FX. This is the contour faces. I've cut it close to the edge of the image. So normally with collage paper, you can use gel medium and blend it into your background so that it almost becomes transparent and your background behind can peek through. But I really wanted this image to stand out off the page, so I have purposely cut out my image like this to make sure that you can really see that it's this really gorgeous free drawn face. And then because I got some paint there and I thought it would help to tie it into the page, I'm just colouring some of that leaf on the side with the paint that I have. And then I decide to add some more splatters, but I'm going to splatter directly on my face image because I thought it would be a cool little, just something different and something pretty cool. And again, I love my splatters and I thought it would help to take from that stark white, which I did love, but I thought splatters would just give it a bit of a pop of colour, but also still keep that lovely white face. And I love how it turned out. Like the coloured splatters as opposed to the black and white splatters in the background really do have a nice contrast. And I just love those big fat blobby spots. I love big blobby paint splats as opposed to some of the fine ones that you can get. But yeah, so this is my example of turning a hot mess into a page that you kind of love. So I hope you've enjoyed my video, and I will be back real soon with a new one. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.